all praise. Hebrews 13:17, prophets on the scene, wash your souls clean before we go into the gasoline. Took a while to understand Psalms 111:10. Brother calling me from Mississippi, trying to build a man. I flushed 14 grams, it made angels rejoice. It made me and Satan divorce, no spousal support. I'm running the course with my hand to the plow. Now, putting in the pebble the way Soldier James taught me how. Bring it out, it strengthened my spirit when we in the building. Ain't no feeling like giving the precept for a precept giving. Preach, MOV condition, teach, 7-second living. We, 2 Timothy 2:15, represent us with a common interest. Prophesy to the wind, reveal the man of sin, endure it to the end. We the watchmen for Israel, cause we watch it for Israel. We the watchmen for Israel, cause we watch it for Israel. We the watchmen for Israel, cause we watch it for Israel. We the watchmen for Israel, cause we watch it for Israel. We the watchmen for Israel, cause we watch it for Israel. We the watchmen for Israel, cause we watch it for Israel. We the watchmen for Israel, cause we watch it for Israel. We the watchmen for Israel, cause we watch it for Israel. We the watchmen for Israel, cause we watch it for Israel. We the watchmen for Israel, cause we watch it for Israel. We the watchmen for Israel, cause we watch it for Israel. We the
Hey, shalom, shalom. Most High in Christ bless. You are tuning in to another episode of the Watchman Radio, the Decree of the Watchers. I am Officer Simakaia.
Officer Judah.
So we're going to continue. We're going to be going over the same thing we was going over in the last episode, just a continuation. We're going to over a little bit of the history of Thanksgiving. So this will be Thanksgiving part 2. So we're going to start out Isaiah chapter 46 and verse 9. We have to understand that the only way we're going to fully understand the things that's going on and get up out of these things, we got to go back to the Bible. We got to go back to the word of God. Read that.
Isaiah chapter 4 and verse 9. Remembering the former things of old.
We got to remember the former things of old. The former things of old are contained in the Bible. Read.
For I am God, and there is none else.
There is no God on this earth but the God of the nation of Israel, the God of you blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Read.
I am God, and there is none like me. Declaring the end from the beginning.
Because there's a reason I got to put emphasis on that, because there's a being on this earth that presents himself as God. He try to so-called heal your sicknesses and your diseases by you getting, let me see, how could I say it nicely?
Don't say it nice.
I gotta say it nicely so we don't get
appropriately.
So we don't get flagged.
Right.
But he what's the word I'm looking for? Hold that real quick. Coming back, get Psalms chapter 50, verse 21. Because the thing about it, we got to really understand, because this man, this being on the earth that proclaims to be as God, sets us up for failure all the time. Where you got the so-called I don't think there's no other way to say it. I'm trying to think of a way that I can say it wisely. The so-called apothecaries. That's what they would so-called be. That's what I'm going to use the words that the Bible used. The so-called apothecaries. The things that they would give you and tell you to take only suppress the various diseases that you may have. So that's one of the ways, because in the scriptures tell us that God made medicines out of the earth. But when you go to these modern day apothecaries, they don't give you medicines out of the earth. And the things that they do give you don't actually heal your body. They don't actually make you feel better. They make you feel better temporarily, but they don't fix the root of the problem that you're having. They actually make it worse. What you say?
They treat the symptoms.
Right. They treat the symptoms, but internally, the damage is still occurring, but it tricks your mind to where you don't feel that you got painkillers. They suppress the pain, but the pain is still there. You just don't feel it. Read that real quick.
Psalms chapter 50 and verse 21. These things hast thou done, and I kept silence. Thou thoughtest that I was altogether such a one as thyself.
So they think that God is like them. They think that they are like God, but no, they not. Read.
But I will reprove thee.
The Most High God said he's going to reprove them. Read.
And set them in order before thine eyes.
He's setting us in order right now before their eyes. Right. Read.
Now considering this.
Read up higher. I think we didn't read what I wanted.
Verse 16.
Where he says they cast his word. Let me look at it.
Verse 17.
Verse 17. Seeing thou hatest instruction and casteth my words behind thee. When they
cast the words of God behind them. Like I said, the Bible says that the Most High created medicines out of the earth. But they said, nah, take this, take that. And this and that don't do nothing to make our bodies better. It actually hides the pain or the symptoms that we're having and makes something else go wrong. So no, they're not God. Go back to Isaiah.
Isaiah chapter 46 and verse 10.
And they make it seem like they're God because they went into a lab and created something to mimic the true medicines of the earth. Verse 9. They got us food in this current system and kingdom. Read on.
Verse 9. Remembering the former things of old, for I am God and there is none else.
And that was a bit random. It ain't got nothing to do with the topic, but just putting it out there. Read.
I am God and there is none like me. Declaring the end from the beginning.
So the Most High God declared the end from the beginning. So we have to realize that. So everything that's going on today, we got to go to the Bible to find it. We got to go to the Bible to find the solutions, to get out of the problems that we are having. Right. Read.
And from ancient times, the things that are not yet done.
He declared from ancient times the things that are not yet done. So the only way we're going to discover the solutions, the way out of our problems for the Native Americans, the way out of the reservations, we got to go back to the Most High God. We have to return to our God. From there, get Ezekiel chapter 33 and verse 7. Ezekiel chapter 33 and verse 7. This Bible is the only source that we have that's going to solve any of the problems and all of the problems that's in our land and the things that we go through as a people. Read.
Ezekiel chapter 33 and verse 7. So thou, O son of man, I have set thee a watchman unto the house of Israel.
So we are the watchmen. We are the watchmen that's sent forth to warn you that the things that's going on in today's society are a result of us breaking God's commandments, of us doing everything against the Most High God. So he sent our enemies amongst us to take our land, to take our culture, to put us on reservations. He sent our enemies against us because we broke his laws. Read.
Therefore thou shalt hear the word at my mouth.
So you're going to hear the word at the mouth of the prophets. That's what we are speaking unto you. We're speaking you the words of God because that's what God told us to do. Read.
And warn them from me.
We're giving you warning. Read.
When I say unto the wicked, O wicked man, thou shalt surely die. If thou dost not speak to warn the wicked from his way, that wicked man shall die in his iniquity.
So if we don't do radio shows and classes and things like this to show you why we are suffering, the conditions that we are suffering, then the blood is going to be on our heads. But you have radio shows like this so that we are bringing the word out. We are telling you why you're going through the things you're going through so you can fix it. Now, if you hear it and don't fix it, it's on you. The blood is off our hand. Read.
But his blood will I require at thine hand.
Read.
Nevertheless, if thou warn the wicked of his way to turn from it, if he do not turn from his way, he shall die in his iniquity.
So if we warning you and you don't listen, you're going to die in your iniquity. Read.
But thou hast delivered thy soul.
But we have delivered our soul. We delivered ourselves because we didn't close our mouth. We didn't throw the stuff that we know up under the rug. We did what we had to do to make sure you are aware, to make sure it comes to your ears and your mind so you can see what's going on and fix it. But if you decide not to fix it, hey, the blood off our hands. We did our job. So from there, go to Colossians chapter 2 and verse 8. So we dealing with thanksgiving, what the world calls thanksgiving. So we dealing with that, and we warning you, we giving you warning. You got to leave these ways of this world, the customs of this world alone. Read that.
Colossians chapter 2 and verse 8. Beware, lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit.
So it says beware, meaning take heed, be cautious, lest any man spoil you. When you spoil something, think about spoiled milk. You ain't drinking no spoiled milk, so when you're spoiled, you're in a bad state. That's how we are as the people of the Most High God. The blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we are spoiled as a people. The natives are on reservations. The so-called Hispanics are being told they can't come across this wall that's been created in the land that was theirs. Mm-hmm. The so-called blacks are being told to go back to Africa. When they took us from the west coast of Africa and brought us over here. All of these things are going on because we broke God's commandments. So we are being spoiled through these various holidays, so-called holidays that they have us celebrate. Like we got Thanksgiving, which we call Thanksgiving, coming up. And it's guys today under the, oh no, it's just a time for your family to get together. It's a time when, and it's a video that I wanted to play it, but it's graphic and I don't think it's gonna fly. But nevertheless, we told the lie that no, it's just the opportunity for the families to get together and this, that, and the third. You got the day off, get with your family, yada yada yada. When all year you beefing with your family, you're cursing your family out, you hate your mother, you hate your grandmother, you hate being around her. But Thanksgiving, everybody come together and be phony and eat a meal. That's being spoiled. Read.
After the tradition of men.
We spoiled because we following after the traditions of men. We got all these holidays or hell days that's set up throughout the year, but yet none of us, most of us profess to be Christians. We wear the cross on, we wear a little cross emblem on our neck. We got the cross hanging from in the car on our rearview mirror, but yet none of us know what holidays actually are in the Bible.
That right there is a proof of the actual spoiling, because Thanksgiving is the history of murder, bloodshed, massacre, genocide. That's literally what it is. Yep. But yet they want to tell a lie and put a guise behind it, like, oh no, it's for the family. It's for this. It's never been for that.
Right.
So why would you lie to yourself or allow somebody else to lie to you and allow you to continue to do something that you know that's not what it's for?
Right.
It's about American history, massacre, genocide. That is what it's about. But for you to accept that is the proof that you've been spoiled, rotted. Okay.
Yep. Is that it on that?
No, sir.
Read
after
on.
the rudiments of the world and not after Christ.
So everything Thanksgiving or quote unquote Thanksgiving is not after Christ. Christ ain't got nothing to do with it. I know we watched the video the last time with this Edomite, I think it was an Edomite pastor talking about don't let nobody what did he say? Y'all remember what he said? We got that video. I'm sorry, this is an ad lib. Because he said he said something in the video about don't let nobody I can't remember. He said don't let nobody browbeat you into that's it. Let's play that real quick. Let's bring that up real quick. This is what's called being spoiled by the philosophy of men and by the rudiments of the world and not after Christ. Because we really have to understand that everything that's set up in this world, y'all can bring it up. I'm just filling space. Y'all can bring it up. But we gotta really understand that everything that goes on is to bamboozle us and keep us in the midst of sin.
This Thanksgiving, don't be browbeat into guilt because you're white or because some revisionist history has said colonialism is the worst evil to befall the world, leaving out Marxism, socialism, and communism, which murdered 100 million people in the last 100 years. Let us remember that an English-speaking Christian Indian who was set free from slavery by a Christian monk gathered together with other peace-loving Christians.
All right, that's it. That's all.
That damn a devil,
so he said, don't be browbeaten by some revisionist. When you revise something, meaning you change the story. We're going to go, as we go through some of these, we got a couple of videos that's going to show what we went through it last time. I don't want to go too deep in what he said. But he said, don't let no revisionist tell you. He said it was a Christian Indian. I ain't saying exact words he said. He said a Christian Indian that was freed by an English monk or something like that. and some crap. Whatever he said, it was BS. It was straight BS, and that's the rudiments of this world, and not after Christ, because they trying to tell you a false story so that you can continue celebrating something in ignorance, knowing the history that this land was taken. This land was taken. Thanksgiving is built on lies. So let's pull up go to Matthew chapter 15 and verse 3.
And that's deflecting too, because so you're going to say, out of all the evil that you did do,
right,
it's all good because you released this one damn Indian slave and y'all made peace and we made nice. So it's all good now, G. It's all good now.
And
that's what you trying to say?
True. And what he said ain't even true. It's a lie. It's a big fat lie.
Come on, man.
Read that.
Matthew 15 and verse 3. But he answered and said unto them.
Call it and read it again.
The 5th verse 3.
Can we fix his mic?
Check. Matthew chapter 15 and verse 3. But he answered and said unto them, why do ye also transgress the commandment of God by your tradition?
So why do many of you Christians transgress the commandment of God by your tradition? Well, not even your tradition. You holding on to the so-called white man's tradition and holding it as your own, talking about it's just for the family. Man, I wish I could play that video. It's a video by a brother from Ohio. His video, he goes through the history of Thanksgiving, but the video too graphic, and from 9 times out of 10 it'll get us flagged, so I don't want to play it. But we got to really understand. We got to get our head out the sand. We really got to get our head out the sand as a people and start actually. You say you Christian, you say you believe in the Bible. You actually got to follow the laws and the customs that are in the Bible.
Right.
Read it.
Matthew chapter 15 and verse 3. But he answered and said unto them, why do ye also transgress the commandment of God by your tradition?
Read on. Jump to verse 7.
Verse 7.
Just for sake of time.
Ye hypocrites.
Ye hypocrites. All you pastors on the pulpit, all you so-called prophetesses and all of this, all of y'all are hypocrites because you transgress God's commandment for a buck. You transgress God's commandment to keep a hell day, which you call a holy day, that ain't even got nothing to do with the Bible. Mm-hmm. Read.
Ye hypocrites. Well, did Isaiah prophesy of you, saying,
Isaiah prophesied well. You read.
This people draweth nigh unto me with their mouth.
You draw nigh to God with your mouth. And you always talking about something, thank the Lord. Oh, I'm blessed and highly favored. Oh, God's going to give you a blessing. He sees what you're going through. No, you honor God with your lips. You profess to know the Bible. You profess to be keeping the commandments, but your ways are far from them. Read.
And honoreth me with their lips,
but
their heart is far from me.
And we're going to show how your heart is far from the Most High God by you celebrating Thanksgiving. Because many of you are preparing, you getting your traveling plans together, all of that stuff. You are in error. You are in error. You're not following the Most High God. Read on. Is that it on 7? Verse 7?
9.
Read.
But in vain they do worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men.
Thanksgiving is a commandment of men. It has nothing to do with the Most High God.
Right.
Let's pull up that first video. Yep.
Y'all know this every month is something to celebrate. This is strategic. Let's start with Black Friday. Do y'all know it's called Black Friday because most companies are negative all year. They go into the black that one day. They run a special and it's called Black Friday. Now they got a new one, Brown Thursday. We used to eat Thanksgiving dinner and chill out. Now the specials are when? Thanksgiving. You don't even eat. You done move your dinner up.
Now the only reason I'm playing this video
at 12:30
because this video has multiple things in it, but this video it shows how we follow after the traditions of man, and every like what we're gonna see in this video. We're gonna see as he bring it out, and you could tell that he actually celebrate Thanksgiving. So we ain't promoting that, but what he finna bring out in this video. You'll see they have something for every month of the year, and every little holiday that they got set up for us, it involves us spending money in some way, shape, form, or fashion. We spending money on these days, and last time I checked, it's coined that we broke and we ain't got this much money.
Right.
But every holiday that come up, we spending money, buying cars, buying flowers, buying this, buying that. We always buying something. And then this season we going into with Thanksgiving and Christmas, we spend a whole lot of money just in this season because they got a so-called sale. A sale ain't really a sale because you still spending money. You spending money. Yeah, they put it on the front like they discounting things, but you spending all your money for 1 day, 2 days out of the year. Don't make sense. But replay that video. Play on.
So Brown Thursday, this is big business. Brown Thursday got you eating dinner early. Cyber what? Monday. 24th of December is what? Christmas Eve. 25th is what? 31st. January 1st. February 14th. March, the kids going spring. April. May. June. July.
So
Kids go back to.
You see in everything spring break, everybody going somewhere. They going to this beach park. You going somewhere to spend some type of money. That's what the system is set up against us. It's set up to keep us down and in captivity. We gotta come to the realization of these things. Go on.
In what month? September. October. November. We back to all the way around. Now, we haven't done birthdays. We haven't done proms, vacations. We haven't done graduation. We haven't done anniversaries. We ain't been to Vegas yet.
So think about it. Let me get Romans chapter 12 and verse 1. So we got to really take this stuff to mind. I know this ain't really got nothing specifically to do with Thanksgiving, but I want to bring this out so we can see that we in a trap. We in a trick bag. We in a trick bag all year round, and we following after the customs of this world. We following after the things that this world has set up, and everything that this world has set up pulls us away from the Most High God. It pulls us away from what the Most High God has set up for us. So we got to understand that and come out of these ways. Read that.
Romans chapter 12 and verse 1. I beseech you, therefore, brethren.
So Paul is saying, I beseech you, brethren. I beg of you. I strongly urge you. Read.
By the mercies of God.
By the mercies of God, because the Most High God ain't put us to death for all the wickedness that we've done. That's his mercy. Read.
That ye present your bodies a living sacrifice.
So we have to present our bodies a living sacrifice. Presenting our bodies as a living sacrifice is us repenting, turning away from those evil things. Read.
Holy, acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service.
And it says that's our reasonable service. That's the least that we can do. Read.
And be not conformed to this world.
Don't be conformed to this world. Turn away from these hell days that they set up. Turn away from these holy days. Go and read Leviticus chapter 23 and learn the real feast days of the Most High God. That's what we have to do. Read.
But be ye transformed.
Be transformed. That's why we are doing these classes. So you can be transformed by what? Read.
By the renewing of your mind.
By the renewing of your mind. Stop following the customs of this world. Throw that calendar out with all the holidays on it. Throw that notification out on your phone. Mute it. That tell you when each holiday is coming up. Throw that thought process out that your birthday is your day. Throw that out, because that's idolatry. You putting yourself on a pedestal before the Most High God. And we don't even realize and understand that. Go ahead.
That ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God.
So when you do these things, you're going to prove that the word of God is true. You're going to prove to your brothers, your sisters, your cousin, your family, your friends. You're going to prove to them what's the will of God. You're going to prove to them what's the acceptable will of God. And it's not Thanksgiving. Read, was that it?
Yes, sir.
So go to that second video. Let's pull up that second video. Now let's get into some of this Thanksgiving stuff. So play.
150 years The United States government eventually stopped the program. But the federal government has never formally apologized for what happened until today. I formally apologize as President of the United States of America for what we did. I formally apologize. And it's long overdue at the tribal school, at a tribal school in Arizona.
So now, just real quick, pause it real quick, so you could know. You notice he said, "I apologize for what we did." What did you do? Why he wasn't specific? When you apologize for something, you're supposed to be very specific to what you did. And when you offer an apology, it's often a case of you're gonna return what you took. You're gonna whatever you did wrong, you're gonna rectify it. You're gonna correct it. What America did to the Pequot, what they took, they came over here and put them to death, and took their little area that they were in. Did they return that when he made this apology? Did they return that land to him?
Nope,
not at all. Play on.
Tradition and culture, and joined by survivors and descendants to do just that. Apologize, rewrite the history book correctly.
So he said rewrite the people correctly. That ain't happened. I can't remember the date on this so-called apology, but it was recent. But the thing about it is, okay, what did they rewrite? What did they fix that they did back in 1621, 1637, when they made it a law in like 1700 or 1863, I believe? Play on.
And joined by survivors and descendants to do just that. Apologize, rewrite the history book correctly. I have a solemn responsibility to be the first president to formally apologize to the Native peoples, Native Americans, Native Hawaiians, Native Alaskans, and federal Indian boarding schools. It's long overdue.
So give me not Romans, I'm sorry. Sirach chapter 12 and verse 10. Sirach 12 and 10. Because we got to understand, just because they go on national TV and they apologize and things like that, don't trust them. Don't trust them. It's a setup. It's a setup, bro. Something evil is coming behind that.
Scriptures talk about how they speech is smooth as butter.
Right.
But behind them, they got a bunch of arrows and darts and swords. Right. It's all evil that come behind it. Never trust these people. If they truly apologize, they would get the people their land back.
Right.
If you truly apologize, you would have gave reparations to all of those that you murdered, the households that you murdered and slaughtered, in order for you to get this land. All right, go ahead.
Right. And if they gonna on that note, if they're gonna apologize, like they always, like I mentioned earlier, they always say, "Oh, go back to Africa. Won't y'all go back to the Caucasus Mountains,
right?
And then get them their land back.
Go back to Petra."
But they're not doing that because they're not gonna do that. Read that.
Mark chapter 12 and verse 10. Never trust thine enemy.
What it say?
Never trust thine enemy.
So it says, never trust thine enemy. Never, no matter what they do. And the scripture gonna say it. Read on.
For like as
read that again.
Never.
What's going on with the mics?
Check. Never.
Let's get him a new mic, please.
Check.
Go ahead.
Turn the gain down.
Check.
It seems like it's clipping.
Never trust thine enemy. For like as iron rusted.
Keep going.
Check. Never trust thine enemy. For as iron rusted, so is his wickedness.
So it says, just like iron rusted, so is his wickedness. So when he tell you something, you got to look at him sideways like, yeah, all right, I got my eyes on you. Read.
Though he humble himself and go crouching.
Though he humble himself, apologize, say he's sorry for this, sorry for that. Read.
Yet take good heed and beware of him.
It says, take good heed and beware of him. When you see him start apologizing, you got to open your eyes and look at him, watch him harder. Like, you know what you up to? Why you trying to soften me up? Why you trying to deceive me? What you trying to do? What trick bag? What trick you got up your sleeve? What you finna do?
Right.
Why you issuing this apology now?
This sounds real familiar. Ain't this something like that the Pope did not too long ago? Who was he apologizing to?
I think so. I can't remember right now.
I can't remember, but they did the same thing. Like, oh, it worked for you? Let me do it too. It's they got an agenda behind this. Go ahead.
Yep. So you gotta be very careful. Was that the end of verse 12?
That was verse 11.
Read 12.
And thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped. Hold on. And thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass.
Thou shalt be unto him as thou hast wiped a looking glass. Read.
And thou shalt know that his rust hath not been altogether wiped away.
His rust has not altogether been wiped away. That's his nature. He can hide it. He can put a show on, but you better keep your eyes on him because eventually you're gonna get bit like a serpent. Like a serpent will bite you and sneak up on you. That's how wicked this devil is. You can't believe him. You can't trust him. Let's pull up that next video.
Hey, you mind if I get
Go
a
ahead.
script?
Go ahead.
Hey, let me get Isaiah chapter 1, verse 7 and 8, because this is exactly what the Bible is talking about. Exactly what's going on. Just how you had the white man, you had the English Americans, you had the Spaniards, you had the French that come over here and try to conquer this land. And eventually America got all of them out. But let me show you what the Lord said that they were going to do in this land concerning the Israelites. Read that.
Isaiah chapter 1 and verse 7. Your country is desolate.
God said that our country would be desolate. Read on.
Your cities are burned with fire.
And that's exactly what they did when they came here. They burnt the cities and towns of the Native Americans. They burnt their temples. Yeah, they was in idolatry, but they burnt it. Come on.
Your land, strangers devour it.
They do what?
Devour it.
Meaning what? They feed themselves off of your resources, off of your land. They devour it. Come on.
In your presence.
And they do it in front of your face. They put you on reservations, and yet they feed themselves and they wax rich off of your resources in front of your face, and will sit there and disrespect you and say, oh, I'm sorry. All is good in the hood. Come on.
And it is desolate as overthrown by strangers.
Read on.
And the daughter of Zion is left as a cottage in the vineyard.
So our people are left as a cottage in the vineyard. Go ahead.
As a garden of cucumber. As a besieged city.
As a besieged city, meaning what? We've been conquered here. We've been colonized here. And they devour our resources here in front of our faces. Meaning what? They take advantage of you. That's what they've been doing. And that's exactly what this devil is doing right here. And that's what this apology is about. Go ahead.
So let's pull up that video. So now this is a response to the apology that's given.
Speaking at the Gila River Indian community in Arizona. For more, we go to Raleigh, North Carolina, where we're joined by Nick Tilson, founder and CEO.
Ain't no video? I mean, that's it, but that's just audio. This would be a video.
This is Democracy. Where we're joined by Nick Tilson, founder and CEO of the Indigenous-led NDN Collective. Nick, thanks so much for joining us again on Democracy Now! Can you talk about the significance of this apology, the first American president to do so, and what you are calling for?
Absolutely. I mean, I think this is one of the most historic moments in the history of this country in its relationship with Indian people. And to be clear, this moment was really created and led by the leadership of Secretary Deb Haaland.
So they've fallen for the okie doke. They're just about to start. He said this is the most important
historic moment in history.
This is a historic moment in history. So this let us know you falling for the okie doke. He haven't learned from all the peace treaties that they broke. You haven't learned. It's the same man that actually did what he did back then. Ain't nothing changed.
Look at this brother. They hired this brother. He's hired. Yeah. I'm telling you, he's hired. He's put up as a tool to help put a face up there of our people to help smooth out or to spoil the minds of the people. That's exactly what it is. He was paid.
Yep. Play on.
And led by the leadership of Secretary Deb Haaland and her team there at the Department of Interior. And what this has meant and means for Indian country is that we hope that this is a beginning of an era of repair. Repair between the United States government.
Hey, pause it real quick. So, see, there are still babies in mass graves. Your apology means nothing. Now, she in the spirit.
Right.
Your apology means she understand that, nah, you trying to do, you still up to something. You still up to something. So, that image I just seen, I didn't even see that earlier. That image, what she got up, she in the spirit. Play on.
Indigenous people and the first people of this land. And as monumental as this apology is, we have to embrace the complexity of this moment. We have to embrace the complexity of this moment and lean towards action too, because it can't be an apology that's on empty words.
Now,
they've been making
that is a good statement. He said it can't be an apology based on empty words. Now that part of everything that's like probably the only part that what he said is actually accurate. So let's see what things he proposes as action. Go on.
Because it can't be an apology that's on empty words. And they've been making great strides, at the Department of Interior by investing into Indigenous education and by investing into research to further know and understand what has happened, with the Indian boarding schools. But we need more of that. And so some of the things that we're calling on is there's a few things that President Biden can do before he leaves office to follow up on this. One of those calls to action is rescinding the medals of honor.
So let's see if any of the things that he mentions includes them giving their land back. Go ahead.
To follow up on this, one of those calls to action is rescinding the medals of honor that were given to the 7th Cavalry at the massacre at Wounded Knee in 1890. To rescind those medals of honor would be a way to invoke healing. The other thing that we're calling upon is, America's longest living Indigenous political prisoner in American history is a boarding school survivor, and his name is Leonard Peltier. And so we're calling upon President Biden for executive clemency for Leonard Peltier. We also want to see this administration and actually
I'm still waiting for actual real solution.
Sound like they just want gifts. That's what you want. That's a gift. You want a medal of honor and honor this brother, this guy right here that was a survivor.
Yeah,
it's nothing. It's all flat promises. You're not actually doing anything for the people.
Right. They say remove the medal of honor from the 1st Cavalry. What that's gonna do?
Nothing.
That ain't gonna change nothing. Go ahead.
For Leonard Peltier. We also want to see this administration and actually future administrations invest into unprecedented levels of investing into Indigenous language, culture, and education, because it was the education that was weaponized and used as a mechanism to assimilate our people. And as a result of that, so many Indigenous languages were lost. And so now we're calling upon...
This sounds like the BHI talking about you got to go learn Hebrew.
Right.
Yeah. What is them learning languages gonna do to rectify a whole land being taken away from the natives and them living on reservation? He ain't even mentioned nothing about get us off the reservation.
Nothing. That's what I'm telling you. He was not spoken for by the people. He was not elected by the people.
Right.
He was put up there by the Biden administration, because these are the Biden's administration's words. These are their thoughts, and they found them a Native American. They say, yeah, you're going to speak for us. We're going to apologize. Don't rub it off too much. Be like, yeah, it's all empty promises.
Right.
We ain't going, you know what I'm saying? You still got to do this. It's not enough, but this is what we're going to do. But I want you to call for that, and then we'll do it. Come on, man. It's all a trick bag, man. Yeah. It's a trick bag.
Play on.
On Biden to invest into unprecedented levels of Indigenous education and languages. And then lastly, what we want to see Congress do is we want to see Congress pass the U.S. Truth and Healing Commission bill, because that bill would make sure that the truth and healing work that is currently underway can be supported for the long haul, far into the future, because it's not one apology that can fix this. This is hopefully the beginning of a new era of repair and healing between indigenous people and the United States government.
So we see that nothing he said goes into it's still our people going into you trusting them you trusting in a nation that can't save you. Go to Isaiah chapter 30 and verse 12.
Thanksgiving.
Isaiah chapter 30 and verse 12. We got to come out of this foolishness. We got to stop trusting in our oppressors to free us from. And he didn't even discuss that. He accepted the apology and he talked about stuff that is not gonna repair what the breach that Esau has created, the breach that the white man has created by taking over this land and putting them on reservations. Read.
Isaiah chapter 30 and verse 12. Wherefore thus saith the Holy One of Israel, because ye despise this word, and trust in oppression and perverseness, and stay thereon.
That's what this is. All of those things that he named, he is still trusting in oppression and perverseness. Have you not seen that all of the evils that the white man done on this land since he been here? They making GMO food. They creating food in the lab. All this evil and wickedness that they have done over these times. When they came over here, they brought, when they did come over there to the Pequot Nation, when they took over for the things from during the Thanksgiving, they brought diseases and destruction. And you talking about remove a medal of honor. That's trusting in oppression and perverseness. This is a perverse people that we are in captivity under. We have to understand that and understand they don't have our best interest at heart. We got to understand that. Read on.
Therefore, this iniquity shall be to you as a breach ready to fall.
It says this iniquity is going to be to you as a breach ready to fall. So because you trust in oppression and perverseness and you continue to do it, even though they showed they ass multiple times. Read.
Swelling out in a high wall, whose breaking cometh suddenly at an instant.
You're gonna continually be disappointed because they're not gonna fulfill their promises. They're not gonna do what they say they're gonna do. Go jump back to 28 and 15.
Hey, you mind if I read verse 10 real quick?
Read on. Go ahead.
Read verse 10.
Isaiah chapter 30 and verse 10. Which say to the seers, see not.
See not. Don't see the truth behind the matter of what you've really done and all the evil that you really did. Don't acknowledge those things, but what?
And to the prophets, prophesy not unto us right things.
Read.
Speak unto us smooth things.
Remove those medals of honor, please. Help my feelings. That's really what this is about.
Yeah.
Also teach about the culture and the language, because that makes me feel good.
Right.
That's all it is.
Yep.
It's smooth words. That's all it is. Nothing tangible that actually is going to fix the issues.
Right.
Nothing tangible that's actually going to replenish what was stolen or taken or robbed from you.
Yep.
Okay? That's exactly what they're looking for. Go ahead.
Read on. Oh, no, go to 28 and 15.
Isaiah chapter 28 and verse 15. Because ye have said, we have made a covenant with death, and with hell are we at agreement.
This is what's going on. With hell we are at agreement. You are in captivity. If you don't believe it, why are you on a reservation? That's captivity. You in captivity in your own land, and you trust them, and they haven't given you your land back. They pushed most of the natives out of the original area that they were in and pushed them somewhere off into a reservation. And that's they lot in this land that was once theirs. Read.
When the overflowing scourge shall come through, it shall not come unto us. For we have made lies our refuge.
Read that again.
For we have made lies our refuge.
This man has shown that he's not gonna, everything that come out of his mouth is a lie. All the peace treaties all that stuff that was broken, you still trusting in the lies that he's telling. because he said in a public apology, he's going to be the first president to apologize. It's a lie. Don't fall for it. Run the other way. Run fast as you can because he got something up his sleeve. Read.
And under falsehood have we hid ourselves.
You're hiding yourselves under falsehood. Mm-hmm. Under falsehood and lies. Go to Psalms chapter 62 and 10. Psalms chapter 62 and 10. We got to understand this. Just because they say something, give me my land back. I believe you when you give me my land back. Right. Until then, nah, I ain't going down that street. I'm straight. You trying to set me up. Psalm 62 and 10.
At least the Negro asked for a job. I don't even think he asked for a job.
Right. 62 and 12, my bad. 62 and 12.
Psalms chapter 62 and verse 12.
No, I'm sorry. It's 10. It's 10.
Yes, sir. Trust not in oppression.
Trust not in oppression. You natives, you are being oppressed.
Right.
Read.
And become not vain in robbery.
Uh-huh.
If riches increase, set not your heart upon them.
Everything that they ask for, I don't even think he asked for nothing that got to do with money. Even that.
Nothing.
He asked for nothing tangible. Remove the medals of honor. What the hell that's going to do?
Nothing.
Honor, I forgot the name of the person that he named. But what is that going to do? That's not going to restore your culture because you got a language class. That's not going to restore you to your culture. How about giving my land back and let me heal my land and so I could treat it how it's supposed to be treated? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? That's more so. Pull that up real quick. Because this is what they got to understand. Pull it up.
You gotta get it on the screen, big screen. There you go.
Read that real quick.
500 treaties broken from 1778 to 1871. The United States government entered into more than 500 peace and land treaties.
They entered into more than 500 peace and land treaties. Read.
With the Native American tribes. All of these treaties have since been violated.
Wait a minute, what?
Have since been violated.
No, they kept them.
Violated.
They kept some of them.
Violated.
They violated all of the treaties. This proves that you're a liar. Read.
Or outright broken by the U.S. government.
So what makes you think that they changed? That's what? That's almost 100 years of them breaking peace treaties and making promises and breaking them.
And they still not honoring it.
Right.
By the bogus sorry.
So what makes you think they're going to honor it today in 2024? Come on, man.
They still ain't.
Come on. Wake up. Stop being silly. Don't stop being silly and understand that the only way that you are going to get your land back is by keeping the commandments of God. That's the only way. Don't listen to nothing they got to say because they were sent here as a belt for us because we broke God's commandments. You natives and Indians, you have to understand that. Don't believe nothing they say. Let's pull up that next video.
I got one more script too concerning that, brother.
Go ahead.
Isaiah chapter 7 and verse 5. So all of y'all that are so-called Native Indians, because y'all really are the Israelites according to the Bible. That's who you are. That's who you be. All right. Y'all was colonized for breaking the commandments of God. All right. But this is what y'all got to watch out for, because again, this is the Watchman radio show, and our job is to be a watchman. If you are watching this show right now, do not listen to that Native American. Do not let him speak for you, because he is hired by the government. And this is what they do. Read that.
Isaiah chapter 7 and verse 5. Because Syria, Ephraim, and the son of Remaliah have taken evil counsel against these, saying.
So this is our people teaming up with the heathen to take counsel against ourselves, against our own people. Traitors, come on.
Let us go up against Judah and vex it.
Today is you, so-called Native Americans. In this situation that we're talking about, this is a counsel against you. Go ahead.
And let us make a breach therein for us.
And it says they're going to make a breach within you to benefit the so-called enemy, which is the enemy, the U.S. government. All right, read on.
And set a king in the midst of it.
It shall do what?
Set a king in the midst of it.
Or put a spokesperson in the midst of you. somebody that looks like you, that comes from you, but he's going to be a spokesperson in the midst of you, but he actually speaks for the enemy. Come on.
Even the son of Tabiel.
Come on.
Thus saith the Lord God, it shall not stand, neither shall it come to pass.
But the Lord said it shall not stand, nor shall it come to pass. Come on.
For the head of Syria is Damascus, and the head of Damascus is Reason. And within 65 years shall Ephraim be broken, that it be not a people.
So what I'm showing you is that is oftentimes where the heathen or the nations, your enemies, will try to set up spokespeople or some kind of political figure to speak on your behalf and seem or to look as if they're there for you, but really they were hired by them, all right? And they're counseling you or speaking on your behalf for their benefit. Do not trust that man or anything that came out of him or Biden's mouth. That's it.
Right. Let's pull up that fourth video.
Thanksgiving is what's represented right here on this pole. Mystic Massacre is what we call it. The Pequot War. It goes by many names. It happened in 1637 down in Connecticut. Owners of the now established Foxwoods. The Pequot people were burned alive in the middle of their sleep at night in 1637. Mass Bay Colony, Plymouth Colony, Providence Plantation, Mystic Seaport, all English colonies banded together to burn women and children while they slept in a village at night.
Hey, real quick, give me Deuteronomy 28 and 25. Deuteronomy chapter 28 and 25. Read verse 15 first. Try to read quickly.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 15. But it shall come to pass.
15.
Verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
The reason I read verse 15 first so you can see, because this Deuteronomy 28, this is Moses speaking to the Israelites. He said, if you break God's commandments, curses are going to come upon you. Bad things are going to happen to you. Now jump to 25. This is one of those bad things. What we just read, he said they came upon them, on the Pequot people, and burned their village and burnt them alive while they were asleep. And they blocked, I think he might not have said it yet, but they blocked off all exits so none of them can get away. Read.
Verse 25. The Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies.
This is being smitten before your enemies. Read.
Thou shalt go out one way against them and flee 7 ways before them.
Now, in this particular setting, they wasn't able to flee because they blocked all the exits. But that's what happened. This is what happened to them. Read.
And shall be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth.
That's captivity. They were taken as slaves. Read.
And thy carcass shall be meat unto all fowls of the air.
They burned them alive. That's verse 26. Read on. Let's read through.
Unto the beasts of the earth, and no man shall fray them away.
So you think when they burned them, they buried them? No, they burned them alive while they were asleep. They ambushed them while they were sleeping and left them to be eaten by the fowls of the air, by the beasts of the field. Go back to the video.
Slept in a village at night. They barricaded the exit. They did not allow anyone to leave. They wanted them to burn. They were proud that they burned. This country was proud to write. We could smell their burning, rotting flesh for over a mile away. It's written, folks. Please read it on your own. I am not making this up. Stephen King can't make this up. He was so proud, the town of Norwich, Connecticut, had a statue honoring this man up until roughly a decade ago. John Mason, the man who murdered over 700 people. When anyone, the few people who were able to survive that Holocaust, they were rounded up. They were sold as slaves. Before they were sold, they were marched all the way from Connecticut.
So he said they were gathered up and sold as slaves. Now, the so-called black man think that only us went into slavery. But this is showing you they fit the same things that happened to us as the so-called blacks happened to our brothers, happened to our native brothers, which are the tribe of Gad. We got to understand that we don't know this, we don't know these things, but these are the things that happen, and it falls right in line with the curses, with the Bible. The Bible was written to the Israelites, and that's why we can go into this Bible and pinpoint the historical facts of the blacks, the Hispanics, and the Native Americans.
Yeah.
Go to Deuteronomy 28 and 41.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 41. Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity.
This is the same. It's the same thing. This is them gathering them up and sending them off into slavery. Same thing happened to them that happened to us. This is Bible history. This is Bible prophecy that we're looking at history and seeing that it's facts. These are the things that happen. Play on.
People who were able to survive that Holocaust, they were rounded up. They were sold as slaves. Before they were sold, they were marched all the way from Connecticut to Mass Bay Colony, present-day Boston. They were placed on trial. They were declared to be sold as slaves. But before they sent them on that slave ship, they had to humiliate them some more. And they read a declaration that those people shall not ever, once again, even utter the word Pequot. They will no longer be able to call themselves a Pequot. I am proud to say I'm a Mashantucket Pequot. So
he said that basically what he's saying is their heritage was stripped away from them. Their heritage was stripped away from them. Does that sound familiar? You watch the movie Roots. What they do to Kunta Kinte?
Took his name.
They took his name from him. The same exact thing. Go to Deuteronomy 28 and 37. This is the same thing that happened to the so-called blacks. We're seeing that it happened to the natives. Same exact thing. Read that.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 37. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword.
They came an astonishment. An astonishment is living on being restricted to a reservation in a land that's all yours. And it says they shall become a proverb and a byword. A byword are these Native Indians. These are the what's the other word they use? Indigenous. That's a byword. That's not your God-given name. Read.
Among all nations, whether the Lord shall lead thee.
Now go to Isaiah chapter 65 and verse 15. These are the things that happened to them. We seeing the same comparison of history. This is what really happened. Let's get the next video queued up.
Isaiah chapter 65 and verse 15. And ye shall leave your name for a curse unto my chosen. For the Lord God shall slay thee and call his servants by another name.
So even the Pequot, that's not your God-given name. Your God-given name, you're the tribe of Gad. But even then, when they came over here, even took that name from you. The Pequot, they even took that from you. So you got to realize that the things that you're going through is because you broke God's commandments. Because many of our native brothers, the northern kingdom was over in this land, the Hispanics and the natives, they were over here sacrificing human flesh. They were over here in the midst of idolatry. So that's why those things happen. So we're here to show you why those things happen so you can turn back to the Most High God. So you can turn back to your maker, the person who can give you the solution, which is out of this Bible. You got to understand that these things are written in this Bible as we are showing you because it identifies who you really are. Now pull up that next video.
Facts First presents the disturbing truth about Thanksgiving that you never learned in history class. Most people love Thanksgiving. It's a time for families to get together and celebrate the holiday together. Most people will cook a turkey, sweet potatoes, green beans, plenty of delicious pies, especially that pumpkin pie.
Skip up to like a minute.
The settlers decided to invite the Native Americans to the celebration to thank them for their help. They also wanted to make the Native Americans feel welcome. On the first Thanksgiving, they sat down for turkey, sweet potatoes, and pie. It sounds like a delightful story, right?
So he detailing what we were told in history class. Skip to like 130. just trying to skip through and get to the point.
Thought that this Native American spoke English, which helped him to communicate with the English newcomers
Okay, go back.
and
Go back to like 120.
to make the Native Americans feel welcome. On the first Thanksgiving, they sat down for turkey, sweet potatoes, and pie. It sounds like a delightful story, right? But unfortunately, it's not all true. There are some disturbing truths about Thanksgiving that you probably did not learn in class.
So now this going back to that video that I replayed that we played last show. You have this Edomite talking about something. Don't let nobody browbeat you in a revisionist because a Christian native was freed by a monk or something like that. So let's play on. Let's see what really happened.
Was a famous Tisquantum, and he had a lot to do with that first Thanksgiving. In school, we were taught that this Native American spoke English, which helped him to communicate with the English newcomers and translate to his fellow Native Americans. While that part of the story is true, it's not the whole story. Squanto did not spend his entire life in Plymouth Colony with his friends and family members. He also did not translate during the first Thanksgiving feast out of kindness of his heart. The reason Squanto was the only Native American who spoke English was that he had been enslaved and forced into servitude in England. When the English headed to his native land in 1619, they brought him along. They figured that he could help them speak
So they brought him along for their benefit so that they can use him to soften the hearts of the Indians that they was coming to overtake, so that they can have the advantage. They didn't come over because it was because of the kindness of their heart. And also, you got to take note, it says that he was a slave. That means they had already came over here prior to, because when they first came over to this land was 1492. That's when it started, which started the slave trade. So they had already took him over. So he had been a slave, and they brought him over so that they could use him as a liaison of getting what they want. Play on.
People in his native tongue. Now, if you thought that Squanto was just a highly intelligent Native American man who helped open the lines of communication between the Pilgrims and the other Native Americans, you were taught wrong. The story of the first Thanksgiving says that it was all peace and happiness during the first Thanksgiving feast. That's also not accurate. The Pilgrims didn't send out a happy invitation to the Native Americans asking them to join them for a meal. Massasoit, the Native American chief of the Wampanoag people, he was invited to the first Thanksgiving. He arrived at the feast with 90 of his men. Because the Native Americans were armed warriors, the Pilgrims decided that they had to do something as a show of force. So they fired their guns in the air to let the Native Americans know that they could fight if necessary. Not exactly the happy start to a dinner that we were taught in elementary school. Putting up a sign of force before dinner doesn't make for the most relaxing of meals. Now, our Thanksgiving menu today is said to be based on what the Pilgrims...
So we see here now, we're going to pull up there, we're going to play the next video. But we see here that everything that we was taught in high school and elementary school, it was all lies. It was all lies, and now we just following after that lie. Even though this ain't the first time these facts come out. All these facts come out year after year after year, and we fall for the lie and bamboozlement to, oh no, it's a time for the family to get together. You can get together with your family any day of the year, all year round, but you want to wait till Thanksgiving to do it. You fool. You a fool. You're worshiping Satan. That's what you're doing by celebrating these holidays. Play this real quick.
The original Thanksgiving that took place was actually in 1622, and it was arranged as a form of giving thanks and honor to a gentleman named Tisquantum, commonly known as Squanto, was a Patuxet tribe member. He had been taken as a slave and lived in Europe for some time. It was by the grace of Franciscan monks that heard about he was being sold for slavery. They freed him, and it took many years for him to arrange a way to steal his way back to his homeland. When he returned, he worked as a liaison between the Pilgrims and the native peoples there, not just his own tribe, who had been wiped out by death at the hands of the colonists.
So we see a lot of this stuff. We didn't learn this stuff in history class. They didn't show us this stuff. They told us the false narrative that everything was peace and nice, and they were welcome, and it was all good and smushy. No, that's not what happened. Play on.
There, not just his own tribe, who had been wiped out by death at the hands of the colonists, as well as many plagues.
It said many
He
plagues,
continued
many plagues, many plagues. Let's read Leviticus chapter 26 and 25 real quick. Because this is now, Leviticus 26 is the same, it's a parallel to Deuteronomy 28, where it talks about the curses that will happen to the nation of Israel when they break God's commandments. Read that.
Leviticus chapter 26 and verse 25. And I will bring a sword upon you that shall avenge the quarrel of my covenant.
It says, I will bring a sword upon you that shall avenge the quarrel of my covenant. She said that they were killed. Basically, I forgot the phrase, so I got to use killed because I don't want it to sound grammatically incorrect. But she said they was plagued by death and many plagues. Plagues are diseases. But the death, how you think the death? We just watched it. We just heard from how the death came about. They were burned and all of that. They were bamboozled and burned and killed and put to death. Read on.
And when ye are gathered together within your cities.
They were gathered together within a city at this present time. They will sleep. Read.
I will send the pestilence among you.
It says, I also will, he said he would bring the pestilence among you. She said that they were also affected by many plagues. Read.
And ye shall be delivered into the hand of the enemy.
And were they not delivered into the hand of the enemy? This is Bible prophecy. We're looking at history and it's Bible prophecy. Go ahead, play.
To do this work, and the original invitation was in November of 1622 to honor all of the work he had done by the local colonists in the original Mayflower Pilgrims community. There is some controversy into how this came about. After the event, Espanto actually died. Now, there are some individuals who feel that he was poisoned. There were some individuals who feel that he became ill. Irregardless of this, there was betrayal, because as soon as the peacekeeper, Tisquantum, passed, the colonists took liberty with and went about massacring many of the native peoples. And the reason for this was because he had been the peacekeeper and had been the one who had negotiated the peace treaties in the first place. They then felt that with his absence, and since
so that's it. So it just goes to show that you can't trust them. Like going back to the apology and all of that, they have shown time and time again that they cannot be trusted. Everything that come out their mouth is a lie. That's how we got to treat it. That's it. That's all. So with that, we're going to conclude the segment on the Thanksgiving. We pray that you all were edified. So now we're going to go into commercials.
2024 alone, Texas has the highest number of Amber Alerts thus far. Help us prevent our loved ones from being taken from us. Know where they are, monitor them, and most importantly, teach them to be aware of their surroundings.
Where are the mentors in the world? We got them out here today, but where are the mentors in this city? Where y'all at? We got over 300, 400 churches. Nobody is helping our youth when our youth are just attacking each other, killing each other, doing everything. They don't have any guidance. Where are the men? But where are the men that want to help right here in this community? I'm not talking about nobody else's community. I'm talking about this back door. It needs mentors and men all over. Not just in Valdosta, all over. But where are the men at in this community to help all these? Yeah, they sit in their house and they talk about them. When are they going to be about the business?
This is my son that this happened to. Sandra Bland was my sister. Rasheem Carter was my brother. Tiffany Carter, as well as Mrs. Johnson here, this is my mother. So when she aches, I ache. So we have to understand the importance of being able to come together.
Touch one! You touch us all! You touch us all! Touch one! Touch one! You touch us all! You touch us all!
You are now flying.
All day, when it comes to profits, we don't play. Reaching Israelites in the four corners every day. Breaking soil, yeah, we're royal, and we teaching in His might. We don't fight for corners, but instead we're taking flights. We're taking over the world. 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 Yeah. Had to take a tour, now we loading up the top. In the worst city, it get litty in Chicago. Not in my house, get old block like my tongue. We ain't never scared, always going where the crime go. It don't stop there, yeah, you see us on the media, but we be taking trips to reach our people up in India. It don't make no sense how the haters just be mad at you when we doing our work. See our blueprints all in Africa. Yeah, this Bible had to be told. Damn it, wherever we go, constantly reaching the fold, working in purple and gold. So we're saying bye now, but Lord, we'll be back later. Black guy with the forces like we're Darth Vader. All around the whole world like an equator. We taking over the world. All day, when it comes to profits, we don't play. Reaching Israelites in the four corners every day. Breaking soil, yeah, we're royal, and we teaching in His might. We don't fight for corners, but instead we're taking flights. We taking over the world. 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 Just left the SB lines, now we popping down the gateway. 5 countries bound, yeah, we pulling in the same way. Ironic how they bought us, now they brought us to the same place. This ain't live wood, but reminds me of the same thing. Ain't this strange? We been up on it, I'm raving the moan, I'm not Benjamin, but I'm up in it. Got plenty of vengeance up on me, but you know we only about teaching repentance for interest. Gave them the bitters, got blood on my fringes. You know how we battle, not carnal, but vicious. Remain on this mission while some lost the vision, cause we get it cracking, what's that, let's get it.
Drop that naked down on the asses. We official skippers say we out of bounds, but the rest this place is whistle. God got me, I'm on fire. Take this fly for a drizzle. We go all our lives, highs from the question. Wake up, issue. We don't fizzle, we go.
All day, when it comes to profits, we don't play. Reaching Israelites in the four corners every day. Breaking soil, yeah, we're royal, and we teaching in His might. We don't fight for corners, but instead we're taking flights. We taking over the world. We taking over the world. We taking over the world. We
What did it say, Bishop?
Death to all Esau, and all Idumea. Rise, Israel, rise.
Okay.
Whoa, 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 yeah, drink up. Y'all too, keep going at it. That's how the income. This controversy getting exciting, igniting serpents that's flying on Gaza and Basra. All glory to the Father, to them in the pride. This is the end of the line. Tell your old widows don't cry. They too will suffer and die. Scream for your babies, but why? They have to pay for your crimes. We come and seek where you hide. We come and seek where you hide. But nah, ain't the time to fear. Do your work. Fight the Philistines over land that isn't yours. Say goodbye, jihad. It's fair. Remember your birth and usher in the real prophets that can return. Question: Edom, what's your iron dome to our iron rod? We face the east, y'all face defeat. Your blood and guts on the ground, hands split. We like pick yourself. Wait, his body gone. Here's a man kid.
Army of God coming up out that iron furnace. Heathens nervous, they feel it in their epidermis. We just scratched the surface. Ashkelon about to be on fire just to let these Ashkenazis know they really worthless. No remission for bastards and Ashdod. Napalms paint the city red like a blood clot. Blasphemers running their mouth, establish lies for clout. Them demons knowing that they time running out. No more king of the south, the Lord gave a decree. Heavens roll like a scroll, turn them dukes to debris. Edomites, they was never the sheep. You call them Israelis, more like least of the flock, they drawing them out. Lord kill them all cause they proud. Habitations desolated, he just clearing them out. Edom day is done, watch his judgment come. Should've never touched the holy ones. Now the mouth is gonna be melted with your blood.
Bang, bang, boom, such a beautiful sound. How did Jews become red when they used to be brown? In the ghetto at the bottom where we usually found. We from the dust of the earth, so we used to the ground. We were slave shipping, how ironic, return to Sonic as the day's ending. Welcome to hell on your tail in the cave with it. My brother spiritual shovel when we grave digging. A Edomite with his head missing, no running. Leviathan, Christ summoned to travel depths of the water, no escaping the Father. Destruction is arriving soon. This the start of the heat like July and June. Ain't you a wild man? Well, I ain't feeling the pressure. Yeah, blow your chest to check a shot. By the time you catch up, I'm on a whole nother condiment, living out the promises.
Shalom, shalom, Most High in Christ bless, Most High in Christ bless. So now we are back. Y'all now tuning in again to the Watchman Radio. So we're going to move forward. We're going to move forward to local and global news. All right, so we're going to go over, touch on a few things that is locally going on here in Chicago and then things that's going on in the world. So let's get the first clip pulled up about what's going on here in Chicago.
Plans by the Trump administration to begin the mass deportation of millions
Get the video. Yes, sir.
Plans by the Trump administration to begin the mass deportation of millions of undocumented people is setting off alarm bells in Little Village and other communities with large immigrant populations.
So we are terrified with those threats of deportation.
Pastor Emma Lozano, who famously provided sanctuary at her Humboldt Park Church for Elvira Arellano nearly 2 decades ago, is calling on President Biden to act now.
To give temporary protection status for those people that have been living here for decades, paying taxes, possibly married to U.S. citizens or have U.S. citizen children or dreamer children.
The Johnson administration is preparing to do all it can to protect families with undocumented members. The deputy mayor for immigrant, migrant, and refugee rights says Chicago will not be bullied because of its welcoming city ordinance.
We are not able to cooperate with ICE to assist in mass deportations. Our mayor has made very clear that he will not flinch. We will continue to maintain our ordinance in place and to comply with that.
One of the biggest concerns is if deportations separate families.
This idea that he's only going to deport on day one people who are undocumented, who have a criminal record, is an absolute lie.
Watch what happens when that debate begins. People are going to come to their senses and leave some of this rhetoric behind them. They're going to say, yes, dangerous people, get rid of them. For God's sake, don't tear that family apart.
Community leaders like
All
Emma
right.
Lozano
Well, alrighty
believe that
then.
if
That's
mass
it. That's it.
deportation...
That's all we need. So we get the gist of what's going on. So now that Trump is the president-elect, he has things that's trying to be pushed when it comes to deportation of illegal immigrants throughout the nation. Now, primarily here in Chicago, they're trying to push the bill, not necessarily a bill, but an ordinance where those that are not documented here or that are illegal are to be deported. So we got people that's in political positions here in Chicago that's actually trying to fight against it, and those that's within the community, all right? So I wanted to show that here in the scriptures. Let me get Lamentations chapter 5 and verse 1. We're going to start right there. Now, Little Village is a community here in Chicago that's predominantly so-called Mexican, which are Israelites of the tribe of Issachar. All right, so these are the people that they are pushing against what Trump is pushing or concerning deportation. All right, let's get that.
Lamentations chapter 5 and verse 1.
Is it mic on?
Check.
Let's go.
Lamentations chapter 5 and verse 1. Remember, O Lord, what is come upon us. Consider and behold our reproach. Our inheritance is turned to strangers.
So just like what we've been talking about when it concerning Thanksgiving and so forth and so on, this is exactly what we're looking at. It's a trickle effect down and out. But yet they want to give an apology.
Right.
You know, they want to give an apology, but, you know, we got stuff that's going on where you're trying to be deported. So it says our inheritance is turned to strangers. The strangers are what they are calling our people, the so-called Mexicans, Venezuelans, and so forth and so on. They're calling them strangers, aliens, illegal aliens. But the white man are the people that are illegal aliens here. They stole this land.
Right.
They are the strangers. So they stole the inheritance of the so-called natives or the Israelites. All right. Read that part again.
Our inheritance is turned to strangers. Our houses to aliens.
And it says our houses are turned to aliens as well. Come on.
We are orphans and fatherless. Our mothers are as widows. We have drinking our water for money.
So again, this land and all the resources that come with it, it belongs to the so-called Mexicans. It belongs to the so-called natives. It belongs to the so-called Tainos, Puerto Ricans, so forth and so on, right? It belongs to them, but now they have to work illegally in their own lands. All right?
Yeah, I'm saying.
Read.
Our wood is sold unto us.
And guess what? They the ones that's been doing a lot of the so-called construction work. You see them outside of Home Depot, you know, trying to get some work. They wood is sold unto them so they can work. All right, read on.
Our necks are under persecution.
It's under what?
Persecution.
That's what we see going on right here with Trump trying to push deportation.
Hey, that's I'm sorry. That's heavy. That last part. Read the last part of verse 4.
Our wood is sold unto us.
It never clicked in my mind until you just said that. The construction work. Construction work. You got to go to Home Depot to buy some 2x4s to build a house. You got to go to Home Depot, Menards, Lowe's to do all to actually work.
Right.
You buying the wood that's off your land that's been chopped up off your land to make $1. That just clicked in my mind. It never, as many times I read that, it never clicked in my mind.
Yeah, that's that persecution. That's that persecution and that oppression that we about to read. Read.
Our necks are under persecution. We labor and have no rest.
You see that? It says we labor and have no rest. The so-called Mexicans are known for their labor. They're known to be hard-working people. And This is just a sidebar because the lady did say something about illegal immigrants paying taxes. I don't know how you can legally pay taxes if you're not documented.
Right.
Just saying. But sidebar. But read it again.
Our necks are under persecution. We labor and have no rest.
You see that? They labor and have no rest. We are the people of the book, and that is exactly what we see going on here. And it's not just going on here in Chicago. It's going throughout other parts of the country as well. But just to give you an updated news, just showing you what is going on here. So let's get the next video. We're going to move to global news. Global news. You got the time step as well, right? So we're going from 3 minutes and 15 seconds to 4 minutes.
Airstrikes on Beirut's southern suburbs overnight, shortly after issuing new forced evacuation orders. The attacks on the Goberi and Burj al Barajna neighborhoods leveled entire residential buildings. The districts where some 700,000 people used to live and work are largely empty due to Israel's assault, now in its 8th week. Lebanese officials say the latest Israeli attacks killed at least 37 people, including at least 12 emergency rescue workers killed in a strike on a civil defense center in the city of Baalbek. Meanwhile, Syria's government says at least 15 people were killed and 16 wounded, including children, when Israeli fighter jets bombed the Syrian capital Damascus.
All right. So if you hadn't known, Israel has been bombing Lebanon for the past 8 weeks. That's 2 months. This is why it's very important that we get our minds right. Why are we showing this global news? Why? Because it's in the Bible. This is Bible prophecy. Let me get the book of Jeremiah, chapter 49. We're going to start at verse 22. Let's see what's going on here. Is this talked about in the Bible? Let's find out.
22.
Yes, sir.
Jeremiah chapter 49 and verse 22. Behold, he shall come up and fly as the eagle.
Who is this talking about? The white man, America, and the Israelis, because Israelis is supported by America. All right. It says that they shall come up and fly as the eagle. Why? Because what is their emblem? The eagle. What is the emblem of America? The eagle. What is the emblem of Rome, Spain, all these European nations? The eagle. Come on.
And spread his wings over Basra.
Come on.
And at that day shall the heart of the mighty men of Edom be as the heart of a woman in her pains. Concerning Damascus.
Concerning who?
Damascus.
Now we're talking about Damascus. What is the capital of Syria? Damascus. Where did they just bomb at? Damascus. He says now concerning Damascus, come on.
Hamath is confounded.
Read.
And Aprad, for they have heard evil tidings.
What is those evil tidings? War, desolation. Okay, they have to flee unto what they call them, like refugee camps or whatever the case may be. All right, read on.
They are faint-hearted. There is sorrow on the sea. It cannot be quiet.
Read.
Damascus is waxed feeble.
Read.
And turned herself to flee.
That's what we just read, because Israel, the so-called the Israelis, they have been putting out or demanding so-called innocent citizens to flee because they were going to be bombing the area. And that's exactly what happened here in Damascus. That's what's happening in Lebanon. All right, so read that verse again, verse 24.
Damascus is waxed feeble and turneth herself to flee.
That's what we just watched right here in this video. Come on.
And fear hath seized on her.
Come on.
Anguish and sorrows have taken her as a woman in travail.
Jump to verse 27.
Verse 27. And I will kindle a fire in the wall of Damascus, and it shall consume the places of Ben-Hadad.
The palaces of Ben-Hadad. The palaces of Ben-Hadad, or the capital. All right, so what we have been reading and what we just read and watched was Bible prophecy. Everything is coming to pass, brothers and sisters. Again, you are now tuning in to the Watchman radio show, and that was our segment for local and global news.
So now we're going to transition into the Black History facts. Black History facts.
People who were more held back.
That's the beginning.
More deprived. If you can think of a people who were more held back, more deprived, more sabotaged than African Americans. You took everything away from them and took them away from everything. They started in your country at less than zero, literally regarded and treated as subhuman, not allowed to learn to read or write or anything for hundreds of years. But you see, they come from a people of accomplishment to one degree or another, not a people of piracy and theft and appropriation. They come from a people who created and built and developed in their own land. And even though you did everything that you could possibly do to suppress them, to hold them down, to hold them back, and you're still doing that until today, nevertheless, I don't think anyone can dispute the fact that African Americans have become a global cultural superpower.
What?
Culturally, they're a superpower. Whatever cultural soft power that America has in the global South, it's African American.
So that's a heavy fact. That's a heavy fact. And it's a reason why. Get Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6. Even in our captivity, even in our low estate, he said we are a global superpower.
A global cultural superpower.
Yeah, a global cultural superpower. So even in our lowest state, we still are viewed as the greatest people on earth. And that's the reason why.
The most influential people on earth.
Read that, Deuteronomy 7 and 6.
Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
So he said he made us to be a special people above all people on the face of the earth. So even in our low, we still above all people. That's why we dominate everything. So what he's saying is facts. It's unrefutable.
Facts.
Read.
The Lord did not set his love upon you.
Now from there, go to Deuteronomy 32 and 9. Deuteronomy chapter 32 and verse 9.
Deuteronomy chapter 32 and verse 9. For the Lord's portion is his people.
The Lord's what?
The Lord's portion is his people.
The Lord's portion is his people. Even though he punishing us and we at the bottom, it's still a known fact that we are the superpower. We are the cultural superpower on this earth. Because everybody that we trying to be like us. Because we are the people of this book. We are the people of the Most High God, and the nations know that. They know that. We just don't know it. We forgot it. Read.
Jacob is the lot of his inheritance. He found him in a desert land.
Now jump up to verse 7.
Verse 7, remember the days of old. Consider the years of many generations. Ask thy father, and he will show thee.
Read.
Thy elders, and they will tell thee.
They're going to tell you what? He's saying, remember the days of old. Go back and search our history. Go back and search through the Bible. Search our forefathers. Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Moses, Aaron, David. Go back and search. Read.
When the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance.
So when the Most High put the nations where they are, he gave them their inheritance. He gave them their lands. Read.
When he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bound of the people according to the number of the children of Israel.
He says he set the bounds of the people according to us. We are the children of Israel. It's us. He set the bounds of the people according to us. That means we are a special people. We are the global cultural, I'm butchering the words he said, but we are the global cultural superpower. So everything he said is biblical. Read.
For the Lord's portion is his people.
We are the Lord's portion. This is our world.
Right.
That's why we dominate. Even in our lowest state, we still dominate this earth.
Yeah.
Read.
Jacob is the lot of his inheritance.
We just not in our proper position because we broke God's commandments. So today is the day you got to repent. Repent and return to the Most High God. So with that, that concludes the Black History Fact. And it also concludes the Watchman radio show, the Decree of the Watchers. You've been watching. I'm Officer Semakiah.
I'm Officer Judah.
And we'll see you next time.
Hebrews 13:17, prophets on the scene, washing souls clean before we go into the gasoline. Took a while to understand Psalms 111:10. Brother calling me from Mississippi, trying to build a man. I flushed 14 grams, it made angels rejoice. It made me and Satan divorce, no spousal support. I'm running the course with my hand to the plow. Now, putting in the pebble the way Soldier James taught me how. Work it out, it strengthened my spirit when we in the building. Ain't no feeling like giving the precept for a precept giving. Preach, MOV conditions, teach, second living. Read 2 Timothy 2:15, represent us with a common interest. Prophesy to the wind, reveal the man of sin, endure it to the end. We the watchmen for Israel, cause we watch it for Israel. We the watchmen for Israel, cause we watch it for Israel. We the watchmen for Israel, cause we watch it for Israel. We the watchmen for Israel, cause we watch it